Nice. This is good. This is good. Yes. We are live, I believe. Yes. Nice. What's up, guys? I am James Hake. It is about 8 minutes till the top of the hour when the real show starts. But, you know, I like to start early with you guys. And early is actually late. Well, guess what? I want to talk about like the attack on whites, but I'm going to talk about that at the show. So for now, let's talk about this coronavirus thing. Skip McBurney. Sorry, Skip, I just doxed you. I don't like using the whole name, even though he has it in his live chat profile. But he said that almost everyone he knows is laid off. And I've heard a lot about this. I've heard that something like 6.6 million jobless claims in addition to like 4 point something million. So like 10 million people out of a job right now with all this stuff. It's crazy. That's why, well, guess what? I'm going to be talking to Richard Spencer later this afternoon. Did you know that? Cool, huh? I mean, that's what the schedule is. I'll have to see if I can get some help. If not, I'll have to do it from my computer. But maybe I can get some help to do it from the studio so it comes off nicer. But maybe somebody can just set me up and let me go. I'm going to be talking about the conservative response to coronavirus. And I don't know if I'm going to be talking about how conservatives have been responding or how I would be responding if I think I'm a conservative. But it's nuts what they're doing right now. I'm leery of course, the liberals shutting down all these businesses. And I heard from a friend of mine that they're even shutting down like hiking trails, beaches. I heard that surfers down in way over in Malibu, not far from here, kind of far, but in Malibu what were they doing? They were just surfing. And then they got cited for like $1,000. This is just hearsay. This is just what I heard. You can go and confirm it yourself. But and somebody going on a kayak or a canoe. Probably a canoe, right? Because canoeing is another good exercise. And so some guy canoeing got fined or cited or stopped. How are you going to spread a virus by going out a canoe all by yourself? Isn't that pretty much, that's like the definition of social distancing or the perfect example, the epitome. You guys canoe out here. That's crazy. So, and I saw this. Meanwhile, I see stuff on Twitter. I see like all kinds of conflicting information. Some people say, oh, the hospitals are so underwhelmed right now. Well, which hospitals? I don't know. But I haven't heard that hospitals are slammed. Some of them say they're slammed. And then some people dispute that they're slammed. So I don't know what the truth is. And here's from Vox. From way back in the end of January. More than a month after this coronavirus started, we started hearing about it. Because we started hearing about it in December. And I think it might have started in November. Or maybe even earlier. But Vox is a far-left outlet. They push the racism thing. They fall for socialism. They're male feminists and things like that. But they like to tweet out informative articles, too. And share informative articles and write them. Well, they're very biased themselves. Well, they said this. They tweeted this out. January 31st, 2020, 1:01 p.m. What is this hashtag coronavirus? It's part of a family of viruses that attack the respiratory system. Should I travel during the outbreak? The CDC and the State Department advise avoiding travel to China for now. Is it going to be a deadly pandemic? No. Wow, that's what they said. And then they tweeted out this article, 9 questions about the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic answered. But it sounds like, well, now they're saying that it's a deadly pandemic. And it has killed a lot of people. I don't know if it's killed enough people to say that I don't know. You just don't know because the flu, and people say something such is just the flu. Nothing is just the flu. Even the flu isn't just the flu, because the flu is very deadly. Somebody tweeted out, I follow different people on Telegram, and this one guy on Telegram whom I follow is a funny guy by the name of, the regular flu leaves lung damage too, according to Nick. But I'm reading stuff from 2018, January 2018. Flu patients leave Texas hospitals strapped. Flu stops the nation. This is from CNN. That was from the Texas Tribune. CNN headline from 2018, January. Flu stomps the nation, overwhelming ERs and leaving 20 children dead. Los Angeles Times in 2018. Flu death toll rises in California. And that's why they're pushing the flu shot on everybody, right? Or this is the pretense anyways. National Health Service overwhelmed in Britain, according to New York Times, leaving patients to wait. That's in 2018. Britain is kind of socialist, right? A little bit. Time magazine, hospitals overwhelmed by flu patients are treating them in tents. January 2018. Hard-hitting flu, dwindling local supply of antiviral medications, overwhelming physicians. January 2018. And all kinds of stuff. Hospitals adding tents. Flu vaccine less than 20% effective against H3N2 strain, according to CBS 2018. And some of these are from April of 2018, because we're in April now, right? So the flu should be kind of waning. But April 2018, Life and Limb, our annual flu emergency, shows the fragility of the medical system, according to Daily Yonder, which I hadn't heard of before. High schooler in Thousand Oaks dies of the flu, February 2018, according to CBS Los Angeles. So these immigrants say they've been jammed into overcrowded, so-called tents, whatever. Just a mess. Kind of eye-opening headlines. I mean, that just shows you that even the flu is not just the flu. And I think it gives a little bit of credence to what Jesse Lee Peterson has been saying about the illegal aliens diseases. We've been allowing people in so-called undocumented. Well, they are quite well documented, actually. Many of them. Or fraudulently documented, we should say. Maybe we should be calling fraudulently documented immigrants. I'm sorry. But there's another one. There's another one that I wanted to show you guys. Do I have it? Oh, man. Some crazy things going on. But hold on. Because, I was listening to, I think I mentioned to you guys, I was listening to Asmodor's show, and he shared this article, a poll, basically, that showed that overwhelming majorities across the political spectrum of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, would like to close the border with Mexico right now during this crisis. And Asmodor made the point that it's a non-racist reason to close the border. And that just kind of leads into what I want to talk about today. This phony idea of racism, and it's so ridiculous. Like, whites aren't even concerned with race, most of them. And yet, the ways that they fall into concern for it, most of them, let's say, is the false idea of not wanting to look racist. And then some other whites are falling into the idea of identifying with their race, too. Too much, right? Too much. So, with that, let's go ahead and get started with the show. I have an interesting clip for you. Check this. If you're just now tuning in, don't worry, I didn't start the intro yet. I was just shooting the breeze with the people about this coronavirus thing and what Jesse Lee Peterson called the illegal aliens disease. All right, guys, let's get started.
The important thing is that we have societal hero archetypes that we look up to. Jesus is a hero archetype. Superman is a hero archetype. Real characters too. You know, we could name 1,000. You know, Rosa Parks, Ronald Reagan. All of these people embody certain attributes that the American people think this is good.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about how to deal with the hatred against white people by Christianity or by separation or a mixture or something. I don't know. Also, what's up with Dan Crenshaw? Some say he's a RINO and seem to despise him. I'm going to talk about that too.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, what's up, guys? I am James Hake. This is Sunday, April 5th, 2020, and I am doing 1 hour today. Sorry, guys, no 2-hour show yet, all right? No 2-hour show yet. But welcome, shout out to dlive.tv/The Hake Report, the people watching on there, and youtube.com/The Hake Report, everybody watching there. You can call in 888-775-3773. And also, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Mixer, I'm on Facebook and Periscope. Just too many platforms, maybe. I don't know what to do about it. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. Dang, that's an awful intro song. Says Black Salad. Hey, Black Salad, nice to see you, man. I love my intro song. This is the original. On Sundays, I play the original by A.J. Gallardo, Anthony Joseph Gallardo. He was my friend from high school and a little before high school and all that stuff. What's up, Luke, on Facebook? So, I'm going to get right to calls, but I do want to talk about what you just heard, which was Dan Crenshaw. I'll keep on wanting to call him Lieutenant Dan Crenshaw. I think that's from that movie, Forrest Gump. Is that Lieutenant Dan? But anyways, Dan Crenshaw is a representative in the U.S. Congress on behalf of part of Texas. And some people were excited about him when he first got in because he debunked this overreaction to President Trump, talking about, he wants to, some of the SJWs who also got into Congress, Democrats, of course, females in most cases. Some of them one guy was a black male. We're talking about, he's going to erase transgender people. Erase? No. Trump didn't want the transgender people serving in the military because it makes the military weaker. So he said, we're not going to do it. But then now it's all vague. Well, Dan Crenshaw was like, what's the big deal? Trump is trying to do what's right. And yet, Dan Crenshaw was also kind of wishy-washy on President Trump's strength and lack of political correctness, because it seems to be that Dan Crenshaw is much more politically correct, which means incorrect, than Trump is. So I'm going to talk about that. And some say, I say personally that he is a bit of a RINO. But I mean, maybe he can be whipped into shape, because we have some serious RINOs in Congress and the Senate. Lindsey Graham, he was made to function by President Trump to a certain extent, right? He even makes the Democrats function. He even makes the media hurt themselves and help him. So that's one good thing that a real person and a man can do. One man, President Trump. Even before he was president, he was just having the people do his bidding. It's cool. Anyways, let me get to some calls, and then we will get into this Dan Crenshaw thing And also, I got a call from a man named Donning Armor at the end of my Friday show, asking, because he heard me say that race, it matters in this life, but in reality, it doesn't really matter, and that it's a spiritual issue. Like, people need to become actual real Christians again, because right now we have a fake Christianity problem, and this attack on whites and all that stuff, and attack on men, and the men are just weak. And Jesse Lee Peterson has made the point that we could get a Republican in office and build businesses back up and keep whites the majority and all that, but if men aren't rebuilt, then it's over. And that's so true. So these physical solutions are not the real solution. So he asked, what's more likely? He asked me a question. What is more likely, to get whites together in a country and be peaceful and have the races separated, or to get most or all of the world to become Christians, and not just Christians, but Jesse's type of Christian, as in like the real kind? And it was an interesting question. So I'm going to deal with that if I have time. But first, I have to get to, I think it's my second favorite caller. Well, it's Substitute Earl out of Michigan. Substitute Earl, good to hear from you.
Hey, hola, buenos dias, baby Hitler.
Buenos dias.
Yes, I wanted to see if you was gonna run like your boss does every time I get him hemmed up. I have a question for you.
Oh, you're talking about, you're accusing Jesse of running every time he has a question?
Yeah, your arrogant boss, Jesse, the fool.
The fool?
I asked him if judgment was, how is judgment hate if the courthouse judge judges every day, but he has no hate in it.
Wow.
And he ran.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question, Substitute Earl. Why?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you always say buenos dias? Are you acting like the Mexicans are going to take over the country?
No, it's because I'm not baby Hitler like you. I'm not racist, and I'm not a little punk like you.
Whoa,
Punk.
Whoa. You're.
And
but wait a minute, you're baby Farrakhan.
No, not at all. And to Joel.
Oh, you want to talk to Joel too?
Yeah, he put me in his little rap song. I got a clap back for him.
Is that true?
He said that, he said Earl is like a squirrel, and that I'm going nuts.
Oh, you heard it.
Wow.
Yeah, but I would like to say that Joel is like a snail, and I think he's just his puppet.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Substitute Earl.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, Substitute Earl. Great call.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you caught that.
No problem.
Yeah. Good to hear from you, man.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Bye, punk.
Adios.
Baby Hitler. Adios.
That was interesting. It threw me off, too, because I was expecting a little bit higher pitched of a voice. Very interesting. Did you guys hear my calls on Friday with Real Earl and Maze and T? Wow. It's good. Let me get to Jace. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, out of Texas. First time caller. Jace, is that how I pronounce it?
Yeah, bud, you got it.
Hey,
Jace.
Good to hear from you.
Hey, man, it's good to talk to you. I've been trying to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to drag this out. I just wanted to let you know that, I think you're doing really well. You've really come into your own. And, man, I appreciate your good vibes, you know, in this hard time during this, I don't even know what to call it, crisis, I guess.
Yeah.
But, no, man, I really appreciate you, and I hope you, you know, keep doing what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, man. It's good to hear from you, Jace. Appreciate that.
Yeah, sure thing. You be blessed, and all you guys be blessed over there, and y'all take care.
Cool. By the way, do you catch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
Oh, yeah, man, I'm going to check it out. Usually like in the middle of the day over here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we start at 11, which is about 1 your time, Central Time, if you're in Central Time. Most of Texas is. So, cool. Yeah, you hadn't really caught it before?
No, yeah, I checked it out, Bon. You know,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of you guys.
Right on. How'd you find the show?
Well, I first discovered JOP on YouTube during whenever the 2016 election was still going on. There was this bit about these Black Lives Matter. You know, I don't want to call them a couple, but you know, like a team.
Right.
And I remember Jesse was just he was just running circles around them, and he wasn't even being like derogatory or anything. He was just asking basic questions.
Right.
And these people, I mean, they were playing ball, but I guess their manager sort of like flipped out on it because they were like exposing, you know, how ignorant they kind of were on everything.
Yeah.
Or at least the things they were talking about. And, you know, all you guys, all they were doing was having a conversation.
Yep.
And for some reason, you know, it just, they weren't even allowed to do that. So
Yeah.
I've been checking it out ever since. The one with, man, I forget her name. The woman that was, I guess, Kanye West's girlfriend, Amber.
Amber Rose?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Oh, that's right. She was.
You know,
I
and
forgot
you
about
know,
that.
I've just been keeping up with it ever since. You know, it's
Yeah.
usually, you know, it's usually entertaining, but you know, also educational. And then, of course, I found you through him, and I've been keeping up. When I was working, you know, it was hard to kind of catch you guys in the morning because, you know, this is prime time work time
Right.
for us over here. So,
Yep.
but now that I got a little bit of time off, I've been checking you out, you know, checking out Bon. And I think that you guys are doing a really good, positive thing for not just the country, but, you know, just for, you know, humanity in general in a universal sense.
Yeah. So
Now,
how are
I
you?
wasn't,
What was that?
do what? Yeah, I wasn't trying to ramble on.
No, you're fine. I was just
You know,
curious. And how are you handling this coronavirus thing? Are you laid off of work, or are you just on temporary breaking, or what's going on?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm laid off until the end of April.
Yeah.
My wife is still working from home.
Yeah.
So we got that going, you know, we're still doing pretty good, you know, but, you know, I understand that there are people that are a lot less fortunate than we are. So I can only imagine what some people are going through right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're able to get by, but, you know, like I said, you know, we've been kind of working at, you know, me and my wife have been married already over 7 years. So we've been working on our own empire for some time now, but like some of the new guys, you know, I guess the Zoomers, the younger millennials, you know, that don't quite have it all figured out yet or a plan.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of feel for those guys, you know, as well as like the people that are susceptible to, you know, getting the disease. You know, it's
Right.
You know, it's definitely, I mean, it's kind of weird how everything shifted, you know, everything was the way it usually is. And then all of a sudden, you know, I feel like I stepped into a different, you know, like parallel dimension or something, you know.
Yeah.
I really don't recognize like I guess this reality, as it's been, it feels like a completely different life right now. And
Yeah, it does.
just
And I'm not even sure
keep
it's
it
a
safe,
real reality. I think that there's an overreaction going on, or a misguided reaction going on. Let's say
Well, I'll
to
tell
this
you one
thing.
thing, Hake. It's a hell of an overreaction or misreaction.
Yeah,
It's just it's unreal to me,
yeah,
but it's surreal at the same time. It's just it doesn't make sense, but and it seems very unsure and
yeah.
slightly chaotic. There's just that you don't know where the next day is going to lead to. And I think they're maybe that's done purposefully. Maybe it's not. There's a lot of speculation.
Right.
And
Thank God that President Trump is there, huh?
yeah, I'm
Could
a
be
fan
a
of the
lot
Great
worse.
White Hope, but
Yeah.
I mean, even Trump though, he's done a couple of things that are kind of like, whoa, I can't, that's
Yeah.
odd, that's not something I would have pictured him doing like
I know what you mean.
just 6 months ago, But I mean, I guess desperate times call for desperate measures. I mean, I'm not sure how desperate we are, but
Yeah.
it's definitely
How old are
definitely
you?
a lot of speculation going on. I can't put my finger on it like as a matter of fact,
Right.
but really no one can right now. So
Yep. It's a big
we
unknown.
just kind of
So
gotta
Jace,
have faith.
let me ask
you.
you, how old are you? If you don't mind my asking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm 31.
Okay. Wow, right on, man. Good old fashioned Texas man. Married 7 years and he's 31. That's cool. And working on your empire. Do you listen to Dave Ramsey or something? Too?
Wait, who's that?
Dave Ramsey?
No, I
was
don't
just
actually.
Oh, cool. All right, good. I mean, good either way, right? I was just curious because you used the term working on our empire, meaning that you've saved up money and you can handle this type of situation for the time being. Is that right?
Hey, Hake, I'm just trying to say, hey, we're blessed,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we took the necessary precautions, and we kept up with having a savings account.
That's
Put
good.
money aside, not live completely for today. We had to
Common
to be
sense.
reasonable.
Yep.
And having children kind of does that to you as well. You kind of
I'm getting a
you have to
text.
think.
I'm getting a text of a question. Are you getting that check from the government?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I hear a lot about it,
Yeah.
but I have not heard how to get it or anything.
Okay. I was just
I'm not
curious.
sure how to go about that. Check or no check, like I said, we've
That's good that you've been
got enough
saving money.
security to persevere,
Right
to
on.
endure through this.
It's good to
know,
hear
I
from you,
mean,
Jace. I'm glad that you've been able to handle that right. Take care, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I understand the government's a necessary evil or entity, however you
Right.
look at it, but I don't want to be 100% dependent on it.
Of course not.
We gotta be self-reliant in this time.
Yeah,
And just in general, really.
definitely. Take care, Jace. It's good to hear from you, man.
Hey, it was great talking. Take care.
All right. Patrice O'Neill Groyper gave a diamond and said, yo. Noah's Arkansas said, amazing with a diamond. And That's Racist gave a diamond. Earl, go sit down. Stop obsessing over Joel. Or substitute Earl. That was pretty good, man. Yeah, that's cool. Let me just double check the super chats and then I'll get to Dmitriev says, day by day, guys. Right on, man. Appreciate that. That's cool. Let me get to Luke out of Seattle, Washington. Luke, it's good to hear from you. What's up?
Oh man, Hake, it is a big honor to be on the show today. I'm just calling in because of this this new order that the police chief made for people to
Oh, in Seattle?
To not very far. I'm in downtown Seattle,
Yeah.
and for people to call in if someone calls them a name, like that's their priority is bad names. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not for people bullying or calling other people names and stuff. That's weak.
Oh.
But if that's
You-
that should be the priority for the police. And honestly, like if you've seen that documentary, Seattle is Dying.
I haven't.
That fellow that you have.
I have not.
Oh, okay. I was kind of interested or fascinated by that documentary, the Coma documentary, Seattle is Dying.
Okay.
But to address all that, how that should go.
Are you on a speakerphone, Luke?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, come off of speaker. Hold on, man. Hold on.
Actually, I'm not on phone.
Hold on. Let me get Luke's phone better because I want to be able to hear. I want people to understand him. So, before I get to Matt, let me just briefly explain this. Oh man, I'm running low on time. So let me do this. Let me talk about this, how to solve the anti-white issue, right? How best to solve it. Because as I told you guys, and then I will get to you guys, I'm going to try to do this fast. Dawning Armor asked me the question on Friday, which is more likely to get whites together in a country and be peaceful, meaning like separate the races, bring back segregation, because this integration thing, this so-called diversity, it's only breeding, because the people are evil, it's only breeding hatred against whites and amongst one another. And actually, everybody hates everybody, to be honest. Blacks hate blacks and whites and Hispanics and Asians. And most people hate everybody. Most people have no love, right? So he says, what's the best solution? To separate the races or to get all the world to follow Christianity, and specifically like the way that Jesse means by Christianity, the real Christianity? I think both of them are pipe dreams. You're not going to get most of the world to become real Christians. You can't even get most of any individual church to become real Christians. Most of them are call them wanting what's right, but they're not living it, right? Or kind of wanting it, or toying with it. So, but for Christians, we don't need most people to be Christians. We need just a minority of Christians to become Christians, and then they're like powerful people. Look at Trump. Look at Jesse Lee Peterson. Look at the individual who becomes a real like man. Like there's no stopping him. He doesn't even need a majority with him, right? And it awakens other people too. And then you have people becoming more and more contained by what's right rather than controlled by evil people. Another thing about this, solving the anti-white issue, that shouldn't be an end goal. Communists, you'll notice that communists have the end goals, right? Communists have end goals, and Satan has end goals. And then you may have a goal, but then you want to achieve that goal by any means necessary. That's right. That's a communist tagline. By any means necessary. BAM. BAM, BAMN, is a communist organization. And there's a bunch of, I think even Malcolm X was a by any means necessary type of guy. I could be totally wrong about that. I'm just curious, but I might have heard something along those lines. But meanwhile, the whites, the Christians, the men are what made us great, or them great, was they had principles, they had morals. And when you have that, then God makes the end goal happen, right? It's interesting. Where we let go of morals is where we fell off. Most of us embrace like a false morality, a self-seeking intellectual Christianity, which is false Christianity. It's not Christianity. Yeah, Joel is saying that sounds insane by any means necessary. It is insane. That's how people get to justify all kinds of evil things. It's kind of like a female thinking. They come up with odd solutions to these so-called problems. And I called this, the title of my show is How to Solve the Anti-White Problem. And that's the problem is the word that came to mind, right? But then I'm like catching myself because, I learned from Jesse that there's no such thing as problems, right? And I think that that's a very good point because then you're not going out trying to solve this problem when the real issue is deeper than that. Satan is the one, he's on the side of the communists, by the way. Satan is also with the imperfect whites and capitalists and Christians and conservatives. That's why we need more men to become perfect. It doesn't even have to be a majority of the men, though. Even if we get a white ethno-state, right? What good would that be without white men being men? And I know that it's not an either or, right? But white men need to be men. It's not an either or. Because if people were really Christians, then they wouldn't be intimidated by the phony accusations of racism. And they wouldn't be, it's racist to want the country to be majority white. No, it's practical. It's what present times are. We're still majority white. 30, 40 years ago, we were even more majority white. And we also had a little bit more morals back then, maybe. Definitely weren't supporting this homosexuality and all this other madness to that extent. Speaking of female-minded solutions, a female-minded solution is like this. We have a teen pregnancy problem. This was in the 90s, right? So let's hand out condoms so that these people don't get pregnant. That is replacing one symptom with enabling more of the symptoms. And the symptom is like sex out of wedlock, right? Even sex out of wedlock is not the problem. It is a symptom of the sin that runs people. So the female-minded solution is enabling and all that stuff. Hopefully that made sense. Real men of other races too, by the way, would love the whites and support whites, and because it's not because they're white or because whatever, because it's right. That's why Jesse Lee Peterson is made White History Month. And by the way, just a side note, wasn't Donning Armour a liberal not too long ago? Maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else. But anyways, hopefully that answered your question, Donning Armour. I'm going to get to a couple more calls, and I am going to open the treasure chest on D Live. I only have an hour, guys. And then I do want to deal with this Dan Crenshaw thing. I'll deal with this Dan Crenshaw thing. And then maybe a little bit more stuff. But, by the way, that guy who called in, Jace, he said, thanks for being like, I don't know. He said something along the lines of like positive or something, bright in these times of supposed crisis that we're in. That's like one reason that I always loved listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show back when I was a listener, as opposed to even producer, before I ever worked for Bond. When I first started going to Bond, for the first several years, I was just attended and then listened to the radio show when I could live. And I noticed that no matter how evil the news was that he was reporting, he was always like, he always has joy. That's cool. And in his case, it's real. So that's cool. Let me get back to Luke. Luke, thanks for holding, man. Hope your phone is better.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, James. Hey, thanks again. I hope you can hear me better now. Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that I agree with what you just said. Definitely, it by any means necessary seems like really, really horrible logic, and undo the air quotes. It's
yeah,
like
and I'm not saying that's what
I'm-
Donning Armour was about, but I'm saying that that's what happens when you have a goal.
Oh,
is
yeah.
you start to
Definitely. I mean, when you have it all laid out, when you have a plan, and have it worked in so complicatedly that people are just arguing over little tiny points in the plan, and they don't realize, and there's so much disinformation.
Yeah. So what were you saying about Seattle?
Oh yeah, but sorry about that. Yeah, that's right. About Seattle is Dying, the documentary. Like it started out seeming like, oh, they're going to address the problems with the people, just doing drugs on the street. You could ride the bus and look over, and there's someone shooting heroin or shooting drugs, or
Wow.
People. It's kind of like how the problem that SF had, San Francisco, when they just let out the mental hospitals and just let people go wherever.
Yeah.
And people are going to do what they're allowed to do. And I've stayed on the street. I've totally camped out on the street when I was trying to get off of drugs about 20 years ago. And I just remember being in a tent city, because they had tent cities then, and seeing a guy doing drugs, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to get sucked back into that. And ended up camping under loading docks and stuff. But back then, I think it was still officially illegal to camp out in Seattle. But now it's just, I guess they have the joke, free Seattle.
Wow.
And there's just tons and tons of people all over the place. But they're the main concern in this pandemic is the police chief, who I think was the same one that was talking after that shooting that was done by the guy who had been arrested and been let out like 40 times, and he shot like a 9-year-old kid and stuff. I started watching that Seattle is Dying documentary and thinking, oh, good, they're going to address the homeless problem. And they started to talk a bit about it. Now the police were basically defanged, declawed. They couldn't really do anything. And that tripped me out, because I was there at the WTO reunion riot the next year. And when
Luke, you're
down,
losing me. I've lost track of what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I sometimes go off on rabbit trails. I was talking to the Seattle police and how the police now compared to the police 20 years ago, like the strictness. But then again, what it really comes down to is who the police are working for. And I went round and round and round on a rabbit trail. Sorry about that. But basically, that Seattle's Dying documentary, it just ends up at the end. It's basically just a commercial for medication. Like the guys that they have
So
Travis
but
fellow.
Luke, for some reason, I'm confused, because I'm looking at what you called in about, and it says how to solve the anti-white problem.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get distracted real bad. I think I might have to do that ADD. Well, anyway, as far as that, I don't even know, man. But as far as that problem, I think that is a big, huge problem that a lot of people don't want to address, because they just want to be like, oh, race doesn't exist, except for when they're blaming white people.
Yeah.
Or if they're like making excuses for a certain group over in the Middle East.
Right. I appreciate it, Luke. Good input.
Hey, I don't want to keep it too long. I'm sorry for going around in circles, but
no, you're
I
fine.
think it's just like basically what Jesse says and what you say, and I did definitely a big shout out to TKR. I'm a big fan of his
cool.
his stuff, and I really liked it. Your interview, and I really liked when we had you on and we had Jesse on. That was great.
Yeah.
So I'll hopefully come calling in another time, but
all right.
I think definitely just to live right, do right, and all the stuff you guys are talking about. God's good. Stay strong.
All right. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate that, man. Take care.
Thanks so much for having me. You guys take care, all right?
All right. You as well. By the way, do you catch church?
I did for the first time the other day, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm Tom timeout from YouTube or what. My comments are popping up. I don't know if they don't go into the chat or what. I've been broke, or I totally would have sent you guys some coin for sure. And
appreciate that, man. Yeah.
Back up and building stuff, I'll definitely will. So.
Cool. Thanks, man. Take care.
Keep on spreading the truth. That's the most important thing right now. And I think the truth is the most important thing, and that's how we're going to win, with truth and love.
Yeah.
United, because divided we're not ever going to win.
Good point, man. All right. Take care. Yeah, he's made a good point. Like, when Trump started telling the truth and not backing down from it, which was mid 2015. Can you believe it? 2015 when he announced. That was almost 5 years ago. Wow. If come mid-June, it'll be 5 years since he announced he's run for president. And he told the truth and did not back down. Wow, what's up? Leafy's here. Leafy is here. Leafy is here. Sorry. Yeah, and I remember reading a Tucker Carlson article. I think it was written in Politico, of all places, about Donald Trump before he was president, when he was running. And he said, he made a point. The truth is thrilling. People get excited about the truth, the plain truth. Either overreact to it or it feels so refreshing to hear it. And that's what Trump did. That's what Jesse does too, by the way. Let me get to Matt out of Indiana. Matt, it's good to hear from you, man.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Doing fine. How about you?
We're well.
Right on. By the
So I've
way,
been here.
thank you for the maple syrup.
Hey, you're welcome.
That's awesome.
Did you get the other little thing that was with it for your
Yes.
second hour?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
did.
Good.
I appreciate that, man. That's cool too.
Hey, no worries. Keep up the good work. So I've noticed that all you hear nowadays, everybody's got fear in their voice.
Yeah.
I mean, like the last caller, he was all good. You could hear the fear, and it's like, really, guys, come on, this is nuts. But also with this virus thing, when this opens back up again, the opportunities to make a bunch of money really fast is going to be there. So if these people are out of work and their businesses are done, they ought to be paying attention right now as to what's going to be happening when it opens up. Because
Yeah.
everything's changed. Nothing's going back to the way that it was. It's not going to resemble anything. Kids are out of school until August. No
Wow.
graduation ceremonies, no
Right.
prom. Everybody's homeschooling now, which in our case, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to have ag class and weapons training. But with the flu, I noticed I was in Indianapolis today, and I went past a Methodist hospital and a few other massive hospitals up in Indy. And, man, they're empty. And Indianapolis was called out as a hot spot.
Yeah.
But all the hospitals are empty, and the only businesses that are closed are restaurants, really. Beauty salons, nail salons, massage parlors, sports games. See, all the Caesar circuses are closed. So everybody's freaking out over a virus, and, people saying cops are pulling you over and this and that. I haven't seen any cops pull anybody over. I haven't stayed home, really.
Yeah.
But on another side, you remember the predictions you did like after the first of the year for 2020?
Vaguely. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Here's your dollar collapse, bud. I didn't foresee it coming as a virus pandemic,
Yeah.
but it's genius. It's genius because if there is a real virus, they're on top of it, supposedly.
Right.
Or if I'm sure there's a virus, or if it's killing everybody like they say they're doing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't appear to be. Does it? Does it to you?
No. It doesn't.
Okay. Doesn't here either.
Yeah.
So then, where are we headed? Have you thought about that? Where we're headed? I mean, what's going on, really?
It's hard to predict. me.
Right. Did you hear about the naval blockade in the Gulf of Mexico and on the southern east coast of Florida?
No, I
In
didn't.
the southern states, you didn't. Trump announced that 4 nights ago in one of his coronavirus things. Had the Navy guy up there. Southern Command was handed the Coast Guard and some destroyers.
Yeah.
They called troops up. So there's actually a naval blockade, and Trump got up there and said it was for the narcos, the cartels, the drug runners.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, we've been talking about this Epstein thing that kind of went away, and how he's connected with all this sex trafficking,
Right.
and
Jeffrey
how the Super
Epstein.
Bowl and all. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
He ain't dead.
Right.
He just went home. But anyway,
Oh, you
Trump's
said
a
he ain't
genius.
dead. Did you say he ain't
He
dead?
just went home. He ain't dead. He went home. Come on. I don't know if he's dead or not, but come on. Really? He died in a jail cell. Cameras are messed up. It's all no coincidences here. But if you look
I don't
at it, there's no child sex trafficking going on in major sports games right now. Planned Parenthood in this state is closed down, so COVID has actually saved more lives than it's taken in the last
Nice.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
So-
Is that true?
you got
Because
so
in
you got all your-
elsewhere, they're making sure that people still could get abortions. But anyways.
Yes, they are. Governor Holcomb shut down abortion as an elective surgery, I think, last week.
Okay.
And the cops here, man, you don't see them.
Yeah.
But my point being is, the world stopped. Everything's changed. There's a new order coming out of this. So what's it going to be? I know in Russia you can take an ounce of silver into any bank and exchange it for 3 rubles.
Wow.
I know Russia's not in the news a lot about this COVID. I mean, everybody's thinking this is about.
I
mean,
heard
come on,
that
this is
I
money,
heard that
people.
Russia only had like 2 cases because they
Well,
closed
they
their
were-
borders right away.
Right.
That's the
I
last I
understand
heard of
that.
anything about Russia.
So President Trump closed us off what, February or was it January?
It probably would have been February. I don't know.
I want to say January, but I'm not 100% sure because I know the Dems got up there. Oh man, he's a racist. Oh
Right.
no, but the way the virus is spread and whatnot, we're like what 6-8 weeks out, and it's hit New York. You got to ship in harbor. You got to ship out on the coast off the west coast up there in L.A. where you guys are at.
Yeah.
All your homeless, you drive to work. You drive. Drive's been nice, I'm
Yep.
sure.
Yeah.
But where are the homeless going? I mean, where's the outbreaks?
Right.
I mean,
That's true. A
where's
lot of
all
the
this
homeless
at?
a lot of the homeless people went to shelters or something.
Supposedly.
I don't know. That's crazy.
I know. I mean, and it's like everybody's fearful about their jobs. Okay, and if you don't get to make your mortgage and your rent, really you only have to worry about staying dry, warm, fed, and at least semi-clothed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not real hard to survive outside. I mean, winter's a little more difficult, but everybody seems to just be losing their mind. And if
Yeah.
you're not careful, your cities are going to explode. So
Interesting, man.
I
I
don't know.
appreciate it, Matt.
it's just interesting. And here's another little bit of advice. I'd suggest every last one of you that can hear me right now, you probably ought to run to your local store and plant something to eat, because who knows what's going to happen this winter. Could you imagine going into this in winter and not being able to get food? I mean, in California, you're a little better off. But, I
Yeah.
mean, like where I'm at, we get snow and ice. So,
Yeah. Thank you,
so I'm
Matt.
just saying,
Appreciate
people
it,
ought to
man.
start looking ahead.
Yeah.
All right, take care, James.
All right. You as well.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah. Do you have 6 to 8 weeks of food in your house worth of food, like dry food, I guess? I don't. But we should. We should have at least, just have stuff that's not going to go bad, and maybe eat from it for a while, every so often, once a week, once a month, so that you know that it's not going bad. What if you open it up and it's all bad, nasty? Anyways, let me get to one more call, and then I'm gonna cover this. I'm gonna cover this Dan Crenshaw thing. Dimitri, out of Sacramento, California, first time caller. What's up, Dimitri?
Hey, James, how you doing?
Doing fine. How are you?
Hey, good. I was just going to comment. Did you know that as of yesterday, the ATF and the Department of Justice system crashed with the firearms and everything?
With the firearms? What? Say that again?
Yeah.
The ATF?
Yeah,
what?
The alcohol, tobacco,
Right.
firearm. Basically, yesterday I bought a
No,
handgun
but what did
from a
you say
friend.
that they did?
They crashed, basically. They're not giving anybody their guns.
What do you
The
mean?
people
Oh,
that
so
bought their guns-
they stopped. What do you mean by crashed? They stopped
I
giving
guess that
permits to buy a gun or whatever?
My situation is I already bought the gun, right, from a friend. And, you got to always do that 10-day background check
Okay.
waiting. And yesterday I went in. It was like a few days later, though. And they said they couldn't give me my gun. And this other gentleman behind me, we were waiting in line because he's like, the system just crashed. He's like, ATF is on the phone.
Wow.
Department of Justice is calling each other. They don't know what's going on. And I was like, I asked him when it's going to be back up again. He's like, I have no clue. The first time it happened.
Wow.
Yeah, made everybody leave.
Right. Interesting,
Yeah,
man.
pretty crazy.
I hadn't heard that. We'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
So
Probably
you-
because of
so
all the
you didn't-
people,
So you bought a gun from a friend, and you had to do it in California. I think you have to do it through a gun shop. And
Yeah,
so your friend
exactly,
doesn't have the
yeah.
gun anymore, and you don't have your
Yep.
gun. Only the gun shop
Yep.
has it.
Yeah, and I was like,
So
well,
everything's
I already
frozen.
waited like 10 days.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was like 15 days because I was working.
All right.
Didn't have time to pick it up, and he was like, still, like, we just can't do it. They told us to.
You know,
halt everything.
even though Trump is president, it doesn't mean that the executive branch is conservative. Most of the government is
Yeah.
still run by liberals That's what they call the
Yeah,
deep
that-
state. You can't. Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't trust the government people to do right because they're made up of people, and most people are evil. And you know, with that power, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. But thanks
As
for
long as
letting me know about
as long
that.
as people are going to be in the, people aren't perfect. I mean, there's always going to be flaws, and
Yep.
all that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just letting you know.
I hope you eventually get your
No,
gun.
I got several more guns. I'm not worried about it.
Okay. All right.
It was just, it was a deal that I couldn't, pass on, and he needed the money because he's getting married.
Right.
And I was like, whatever. Let's
So
do
he
it.
got the money, but you didn't get your gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
All
Well, it's
right.
good to hear from you, man. Take care.
All right, James. You have a good one. Thanks.
All right. You as well. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me just cover this Dan Crenshaw thing, because otherwise that would be bad. I got this, and then hang on, guys. So I got this from the Red Elephants. Headline: Dan Crenshaw compares Jesus to fictional characters. And it's an article by Sasha O'Connor from March 31st. And so a Catholic groyper named Dave Rayleigh. A groyper is those guys that are Catholics generally, many of them anyways. And they're fighting against this anti-white thing that's going on right now. And they're confronting, or they were a few months ago, confronting a lot of so-called mainstream, so-called conservatives, including Dan Crenshaw, who would do speaking engagements, and including many of, Charlie Kirk, that black gay guy who's with TPUSA. Charlie Kirk is in charge of TPUSA, or he started it. Young guy. Rob Smith is the black gay guy who's like a representative or ambassador or whatever for TPUSA, Turning Point USA. Supposed to be pretty conservative, but in some ways they're actually kind of RINO. And Rob Smith has a husband. He's a gay guy, black gay guy. A husband, Jesse's voice, right? And he bragged about, trying to get Don't Ask, Don't Tell repealed. And Charlie Kirk is fine with this. He thinks it's great. Charlie Kirk told this YouTuber who was interviewing him, named Dave Rubin, a gay guy, liberal, but not totally insane, but liberal still. He said this: I think it's great that you guys can get married and adopt kids, whatever. I don't mind that. Personally, I don't support it, but whatever. That's what he said, Charlie Kirk. So I think that Charlie Kirk is just either like a little immature and too blasé about giving up the moral side of this. Anyways, the groypers are attacking these guys for that, right? Criticizing. And a lot of their criticisms are right. So Dave Rayleigh is one of those guys. He confronted Rob Smith and Charlie Kirk one time. He tweeted out this video and wrote, Dan Crenshaw fooled many Christians into voting for him. And then this is the video. Dan Crenshaw, he's on Jocko Willink's podcast. He's a well-known Navy SEAL guy, all right? Jocko Willink. He's in his late 40s. And he's on a podcast about his new book, and he's saying that we need heroes, right? So here's Dan Crenshaw talking about we need heroes.
The important thing is that we have societal hero archetypes that we look up to. Jesus is a hero archetype. Superman is a hero archetype. Real characters too. I can name 1,000. Rosa Parks, Ronald Reagan. All of these people embody certain attributes that the American people think this is good.
So, and sorry for the glitch at the end of that clip. I don't know how I messed that up, but he said, why did he name Jesus as a hero? Superman is a hero. Why did he name those two together? That's odd. And then he said real characters too, and it made Joel laugh. It just sounded funny. And so does he think that Jesus is not a real person? I don't know. I'm more offended that he called Rosa Parks a hero. Jesse Lee Peterson explained how Rosa Parks is not a hero. But this guy's young. I think he might be younger than me. Dan Crenshaw. Somebody Google his age if you can. But it did sound funny, for sure. Funny as in odd. Well, it made me laugh, too, to be honest, especially the more I hear it. But I never thought of Dan Crenshaw as a Christian. I just never knew that he claimed to be a Christian. And I still don't know that he claims to be a Christian. He's 36. I'm 38. Who would win in a fight? I got to start exercising more. Push-ups. I got to do a push-up. But it's funny because he had just been talking about people being offended easily. And he and this guy, Jocko Willink, talking about they're both Navy SEALs, right? They were both used to be Navy SEAls. Just swing on his blind side. But, and they would find, in the military, if you show that you get offended by something, oh, that is a weakness. And they will just rail on you, just offend you like crazy until you stop being offended, because it's girly to be offended. And so it is kind of interesting that, these Catholic groypers, although they're right in a lot of their criticisms of him, seem to be maybe, I don't know if they're overly offended or just nitpicking about this guy, because this seems like nitpicking stuff on the part of the groypers. A little bit. And they can much more easily criticize him on the clear stuff. He seems like a bit of a RINO. He doesn't seem like a genuine Christian just based on his, oh, I think what Trump says is offensive too. That's like more real stuff. What he may or may not believe in what he says, that's fine. I watched the first 20-some minutes of this video. Of this recent interview on Jocko's podcast. That was my introduction to Jocko too, to be honest. And Dan's hero, by the way, is his mom, his mother. Oh my gosh. But I mean, let's cut him a little bit of slack. She died of cancer when he was 10. And she got cancer when he was 5. And so he was inspired by her bravery or something. I guess his point was that she kept on just living. And I mean, I guess she didn't lose her spirit or something is what he meant by that. That she's very tough and stuff like that. It was interesting. He talked about when he lost his eye. He actually almost lost both eyes. The sight in both eyes, anyways. Yeah. It's interesting. It seems like the groypers, where they may go wrong, I don't know. Because you guys, a lot of groypers listen to my show, right? You have to know your own heart, right? You have to know whether you're despising these fakes, right? You cannot despise the fakes. Oh! At least I didn't jump this time. I'm training. That is the treasure chest. I'm opening the treasure chest on D Live. What do you think? I don't know. I thought it made him sound like not. It sounded funny, but yeah, Rosa Parks is not a hero. Anyways, let me get to KT out of Washington, D.C. KT, thank you for holding, man. What's up?
Hey, James Hake, what's going on? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Perfect. I just wanted to make a comment about this whole crisis. I put that in quotes because I think this whole thing, I mean, I agree with you. This whole thing is definitely being blown out of proportion. People are, I think more people are going to die because of fear and stress than from the actual virus. And, my sister she's a physician assistant, and she was telling me a story a couple of days ago about how people are running into their office to get prescribed anxiety pills, and, they ask them the reason why, and they say they have this anxiety because of the news. They think they're going to get coronavirus. They'll, someone will have a little sniffle and they'll run to the office to get tested. And, people are just freaking out for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, that's true. They're living in their imaginations, is what Jesse would say.
I'm sorry?
They're living in their imaginations, as Jesse would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're listening to these career government federal employees who have in the past lied to us.
Yeah.
You know, they told us no weapons in Iraq. There are
True.
no weapons. They told us Russia stole our elections.
Right.
That's a lie.
Yep.
And how are we supposed to believe them and listen to them about this whole COVID, whatever?
Yeah.
You know? How come what's his name, Dr. Fauci? He never talks about the cure rate. I think it's above 80%. People who get it and get cured. You know, he only talks about the death. He only talks about the negative. And you can see Trump, and I don't think I know Trump does not take this serious because he knows it's being blown out of proportion. You can see his body language. I don't know if you watch his press conferences. You can see his body language, the way he talks. You know, you can see him kind of slumped over, and you see him reading from his notes, and it's kind of like reading. You know, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that energy. You know,
Yeah.
and you can tell he's just not. You know, he's not part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
He's
you
not
know,
for it.
there was a clip that went kind of viral where he said, "I wasn't involved in any models because they're having these like scientific models where they project how many people they think are going to die or whatever, right?" And he's all, "I wasn't involved in any models, at least not this kind of model." Meaning like,
and those models are dumb, Hake.
Yeah.
I do data analytics, and those things are just based off speculation.
right.
I can just get data and just put it in my model just to make it bring back something that I want other people to see, or something that I like. You know, people can manipulate data.
Yeah. There's
So
a right
I don't believe in models.
and by the way, there's a right way to be careful, washing your hands, maybe putting on a mask if you're around people or whatever, staying home if you're sick or if you're feeling sick, and maybe not shaking hands and things like that, where you can still function and have people going to work. Some of the stuff that they're closing down, it doesn't even remotely make sense to close down. The beaches, really? So it's
exactly. And I think when this whole thing comes down and people get back to work and everything becomes normal, I think we're all going to look back and say we overreacted.
Right.
You know? That's definitely what's going to happen. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see, man. But I appreciate
All
it,
right,
KT.
we'll
Good to
see.
hear from you.
All right, good to hear from you.
Okay.
All right.
Real fast, let me read the treasure chest results, and then hopefully I can get to one or two more calls. Reed Johnson, Take Care Business Bear, Rosie Bear, Grace Face, Primal Bear. Congratulations on the chest results. That's nice. And then thank you to the top contributors. Silosopher gifting away a bunch of subscriptions. You can subscribe, and that's on DLive, and that's actually supporting me monthly. Thank you, man. Pyrus, oh man. Dark Side of the Bear, what? I'm gonna read the rest of Pyrus's name. Pyrus777, Dark Side of the Bear, what? I gotta get with you still. I think, is she streaming now? I don't know. I think she's doing like a 24-hour stream. Patrice O'Neill, Groiper, Hot Computer Smell, Noah's Arkansas, Mr. Wormwood. Hold on. That's Racist, Army Ann, Shaggy Boy, thank you guys. And Willie Palomino says, great show, Hake. Cool sunglasses and thumbs up. Thank you guys. Man, I appreciate you guys joining. And we'll see you in church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Let me quickly. Chris out of Kansas. Chris, what's up?
Hey, James.
30 seconds, go.
Doing?
Doing fine. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, good to hear from you too. Man, I was disappointed Dan Crenshaw didn't mention me.
Yeah.
As a hero. Rosa Parks sat in the bus for what, 5-10 minutes? I've been sitting at home doing my part to save the world from coronavirus.
Right on, man.
And you could win that fight. Just poke out the other eye. All right.
You guys are merciless. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Take care, man.
Take care. Robert and the rest of you guys, I'm sorry we got to end it, but we'll catch you in church with Jesse Lee Peterson in less than 1 hour. rebuildingtheman.com/church and Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel and Bond Rebuilding the Man Facebook page. Thanks, guys. Take care.